Hey there guys and gals, my name is Luke. Welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. Today I am reviewing the Heat 3 Smart Gloves from the Heat Company. Now these gloves are special in two ways. First off, they are the warmest gloves I have ever used in my entire life. And two, they are also the most expensive. Let's get to the review now. So to start off, I put the gloves on, and as you can see, these are really nice. Growing up, my family was very poor, and my brother and I, we always played outside, and it didn't matter if it was in the middle of the winter, when it was negative 10 degrees. We typically didn't have gloves, but what we did have was wool military socks, which would make awesome mittens. Anyways, wow, things have advanced a whole lot since then. Now, as you can see, these are mittens, right? Well, check this out. There's a zipper right through here. Unzip, and check this out, folks. Now you have full dexterity, full control, full movement. Now you can see the back of the glove. This is a magnet. Then you have another one down here, so you can simply fold them over, and it locks into place just like that. Now, as you can see here with my finger, right? See how it's silver? That is a silver fabric, and it's almost like a silver ink. And that way you can use your smartphone, touch the screen and all that good stuff. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, what about the thumb? Usually when you use your smartphone, you're using your thumb and your finger combo. You could do the same with these gloves. Now, going to the thumb, you can see this flap. Go ahead and open that up, pull it back, and check that out. As you can see there, silver material, silver fabric on both the thumb and your finger. And that's of course the same on the other glove as well. Going back to the mitten form factor, you can see that's the zipper right there, so you can pull your fingers out. On the other side, there's another zipper right here. Now this one is so that you can take a hand warmer and put that over the top of your fingers. I mean, how incredibly smart is that? First off, these gloves are filled with Permaloft insulation. They are extremely warm. I am someone who is very hot, and I have worn these down to roughly 10 degrees Fahrenheit with no warmers, and I was absolutely comfortable. As I was moving around in those temperatures, these are a little bit hot. So if you get hot, unzip, pull it out. That doesn't sound good, does it? But that's what I mean. So as soon as it gets hot, simply pull it back, let your fingers breathe a little bit. They still stay warm because you have this inner liner. Now with these gloves, this liner is not removable. There is a layered version of this glove, which you can remove it, but it's more expensive. More expensive than the $165 that you will pay for these gloves. Going to the side, you do have a draw pull, so you can pull this nice and tight, get it really tightly fitted over your hand to keep snow out. Very smart. You do have a carabiner here, so you can attach your gloves together, so you can keep them together inside of your backpack, purse, or so on. You're also able to cinch it down here at the very bottom. So multiple ways to really tighten this down to keep the elements out. As you can see, you have this elastic cuff, which you can put over your arm. That way, if you're skiing, you can take your glove off, drop it, you're not going to lose it. Another feature to talk about here is this is the thumb. You can see this piece of Velcro, some more Velcro. When you undo this here, to pull out your thumb, that is where the Velcro comes into play. So you can simply fold it over, just like so. And there you go. So when it comes to the gloves, the Heat 3 Smart Gloves, as you can see, they are very advanced. There's no doubt about it. These are definitely the most advanced gloves that I have ever worn. Now, speaking of which, I have had these gloves for numerous years. And the company has been extremely patient with me while I've been testing these out. And this is something where I needed a lot of time to test out, right? Multiple winters. When you have a pair of gloves that are this expensive, $165, you have to test them out. You have to learn every single thing about them, and I definitely have. So I've worn them for multiple winters. I can tell you that they are, without a doubt, the warmest gloves I've ever worn. They are the nicest gloves I've ever worn. I mean, they're extremely premium in every way. All the way down to the goat leather here in the middle, right? the waterproof zippers. I mean, the fact that you can add in the hand warmer chemical element, just super, super nice. These gloves are available in numerous colors and numerous sizes, 6 all the way up to 12. And here in the United States, these gloves are somewhat new to the scene. But overseas in Europe, these gloves are extremely popular, where they are the #1 selling glove in Europe, as they were designed with the Austrian and German SOF teams. They are windproof, breathable, and this is their 3rd generation of glove, which is more advanced and warmer. So, after all of these years of testing, it is time to get to the review, starting with pros. First off, incredibly warm. Incredibly warm. I've worn these down to roughly 0 degrees, kept me nice and toasty when I was moving around. You know, if I'm sitting around, pop in a hand warmer, just like that, stay super, super warm, you know, no matter what you're doing. Now, when it comes to the materials, these are top-notch, right? Top of the line, high-end stuff here. I mean, incredibly nice inside and out. Next up, you can, of course, use your cell phone without taking the gloves off. That's a huge plus. This inner right here is very, very nice. It's also very comfortable. It feels really good against the skin. The best feature here is that it gives you the functionality of a mitten along with a glove. That's very important. Moving on to the cons. Let's start with this inner right here. While I like this a lot, it really is nice, the quality is great, it feels good, I am really worried about this. This material is very thin, it's not very strong, and I can see tearing this up. And once you do, your gloves are stuck that way because this liner is attached to the glove. You cannot take this out, you can't wash it, nothing like that. So if you tear a hole in this, it is the way it is, and these gloves are really, really expensive to have that happen. That takes us to what I think these gloves are for. Since this material is so fragile, I cannot say that I would recommend these for like extreme use. These are definitely not work gloves. You would never use these for work. For photography, I think these are fantastic, right? I mean, you're walking around when it's nice and cold, you're carrying your camera, but you need to take a picture. You do this, take your picture, then get warm again. I see that as an area which these gloves would excel at. And I think that's why they're so popular. I have seen these for sale on numerous photography websites, and that's the reason why. Going back to this inner though, one common complaint which I have seen with these gloves, after looking at these gloves being for sale on photography sites, is that the liner has a tendency to tear up. You know, you're switching things, you're touching things that are rough, and eventually you're wearing this down and you're tearing a hole in it. And that's a huge shame. Now, with that worry being stated, after 2 years, I've had no issues here at all. But it is a weak point for these gloves. With that being the case, I would not recommend these gloves as work gloves. I would not recommend them if you are going to be doing something against like abrasive materials, maybe against rock and so on. Continuing on with the cons and continuing to talk about this liner. This liner is a magnet for debris. Anything that's dry, like dry leaves, crumply, something like that, if you touch it, it is going to stick to this like it's glue. And you are going to spend a long time picking all of this stuff off. Yes, that is a small nitpick, but it is a con. Moving on to the thumb cover. I am not a huge fan of this right here. This feels very flimsy. It doesn't really match the quality of the overall glove. Yes, it works, but it is a weak point for the gloves. Water can easily come inside of this if you're messing with snow that's moist. Yeah, it just doesn't feel very nice when compared to the rest of the glove. Another negative is with the palm zipper. It's very, very hard to get that to seal shut. This is a waterproof zipper, so yes, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but it is worth mentioning. Oftentimes, I'll just have to bite it and then zip it. With those cons, most of those are rather minor. The biggest con for these gloves is the price. $165. $165 for a pair of gloves. For that price, I am unable to recommend these gloves, right? Not to everyone. To some people, yes. To most people, no. If you are into photography and you need some seriously warm gloves, this is a very interesting option. I can't say that I've looked at photography gloves and mittens, so I cannot comment on what is out there, but I see this being an excellent option. Just be careful with this liner here. Or consider purchasing the layering version so you can take the liner out and replace them if something ever happens. If you're going out for a minor hike, something around the lake on a cool day, and you have the money to spend, very, very nice indeed. For backpacking purposes, it really depends on what type of trip that you're going on. If the trip is going to be pretty easy, where you're not having to really scramble over any rocks or anything, not bad. But if you are having to scramble over those rocks, I'm afraid that you would tear these gloves up. The goat leather is very, very soft, and of course, with the inner, you have to be extremely careful. So to wrap up this review, let's answer this question. Are these the type of gloves that I would personally go out and purchase myself? And no, unfortunately, they are not. While I do like the quality, I do respect what this company is doing here. The price is just way too high in my opinion. $165, that's a lot of cash, right? That's a lot of cash. I'm a huge fan of layering, and that is true when it comes to gloves. You know, that way I could go down to -10. That way I could be comfortable at 30 degrees. It doesn't matter. With these gloves here, they're just too extreme for me, right? They're too hot. They're too expensive. For the right person in the right situation, they are going to love these gloves. But that person is not me, unfortunately. If you guys have any questions for me, you know what to do. Until next time, everyone. Strength and honor. Take care.